Galatians 5:1 says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free." Following Jesus is all about freedom. Jesus came to set us free. That's what we'll be exploring this term. We'll be using the Bible book Exodus. Why? Because Exodus literally means the way out. It's a book all about freedom. Perhaps freedom seems far away for you. It certainly was for the key figure in Exodus, a man called Moses. Here's his story. Though he was from Israelite heritage, Moses was part of Egypt's royal family. He enjoyed influence and importance. But one day, he saw a fellow Israelite being beaten up. Moses leapt to his defense, moved by the injustice he saw. He wanted to stop the oppression of his people. But this was his downfall. Moses' actions were misunderstood by those he was trying to help. Worse still, he had provoked the Egyptians. He had no option but to flee into the desert, a place he remained for 40 years. Meanwhile, back in Egypt, the enslaved Israelites groaned under Egyptian oppression. No one seemed to see their suffering, except for God, who saw. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. Not only was God concerned, he was going to do something. Appearing to Moses in a burning bush, God outlines his plan. "I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So, I have come to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey." And Moses was part of this plan. "So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." God could have sent anyone, but he wants to send Moses. And how does Moses feel about this? "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" he asks. Moses feels inadequate in 3 ways. Firstly, Pharaoh is the most powerful man in the world, leader of the world's most advanced civilization. Moses is weak, a shepherd in exile, a humble Israelite. Secondly, Moses thinks he doesn't know enough theology or have the right knowledge. "Suppose I go to the Israelites," he says, "and they ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what shall I tell them?" Then a third objection. "I have never been eloquent," Moses says. "I'm slow of speech and tongue." Moses may be referring to a speech impediment, but regardless, he's not one for public speaking. And these 3 objections build to Moses' final request. "Please send someone else." God could have sent someone else. He didn't need Moses. He doesn't need any of us to complete his plans. But God has a freedom project for his people. This freedom project includes setting us free from our fears of inadequacy. In a moment, we'll see how God frees Moses from his fears, and we'll see how we can know this kind of freedom too.